Tae-ho Kim wiped the grease from his hands and looked at the clock on the workshop wall. 3 in the afternoon. The transport ship would arrive soon with his new wife. His stomach felt strange, like he had eaten something bad. He was nervous. The mining station was quiet today. Most of the other workers had gone to the main facility on the other side of the asteroid. Tae-ho preferred working alone anyway. He was good with machines. They made sense to him. People were harder to understand. He walked to his small living quarters and looked in the mirror. His hair was messy from working under the mining equipment all day. He tried to fix it with water from the sink. His apartment was small but clean. 2 rooms, a bed, a kitchen table, and not much else. He hoped Sujin Park would not mind living in such a simple place. Tae-ho had never been married. At 28, he was getting worried he would be alone forever. Working on a remote mining station did not give him many chances to meet women. So he had signed up with a company that helped people find wives from Earth. He had sent messages back and forth with Sujin for 6 months. She seemed nice in her letters. She said she wanted a quiet life away from the busy cities of Earth. The communication system made a loud beep. The transport ship was asking permission to dock. Tae-ho's heart started beating fast. This was it. His new life was about to begin. Transport ship Luna, you are clear to dock at Bay 2. Tae-ho said into the radio. Copy that. New Busan station. We have 1 passenger for delivery, came the reply. Tae-ho put on his cleanest shirt and walked to the docking bay. The metal floors made his footsteps echo in the empty hallways. The station felt too quiet. He could hear his own breathing. The transport ship was not very big. It was designed to carry cargo and a few passengers between the asteroid colonies. Through the small window, Tae-ho could see someone moving inside. His future wife was really here. The airlock door opened with a hiss of air. Tae-ho stood up straight and tried to smile. He wanted to make a good first impression. But what came through the door was not Sujin Park. A huge figure stepped into the docking bay. It was taller than any human Tae-ho had ever seen. Much taller. The creature had to duck to fit through the doorway. Its skin was blue like crystals and seemed to glow with its own light. It had 4 arms instead of 2. Its face was beautiful but alien, with large eyes that sparkled like stars. Tae-ho's mouth fell open. He could not speak. He could not move. The alien creature looked around the docking bay. It seemed confused. When it saw Tae-ho, it spoke in perfect English, but with a voice that sounded like music. You are not the diplomatic escort I was expecting, the alien said. Where is the Terran Federation representative? Where is my honor guard? Tae-ho tried to find his voice. I think there has been a mistake. The alien walked closer. Each step made the metal floor shake a little. Up close, Tae-ho could see that the creature was wearing clothes that looked very expensive and important, like a queen or princess might wear. I am Queen Vel-Ara of the Karathi Empire, the alien said. I was told this transport would take me to the Peace Summit on Titan Station. This is clearly not Titan Station. Tae-ho looked around his small mining station. The walls were dirty from years of work. Tools were scattered everywhere. It definitely was not the kind of place where queens would visit. No, this is New Busan Station, Tae-ho said. It's just a mining outpost. I'm Tae-ho Kim. I was waiting for my mail-order bride from Earth. Queen Vel-Ara stared at him for a long moment. Then she looked back at the transport ship. The pilot was already closing the airlock door. Wait! The queen called out. But it was too late. The ship was already starting to leave. The next transport does not come for 3 months, Tae-ho said quietly. The queen's forearms crossed in front of her chest. Her glowing skin got brighter, which Tae-ho thought might mean she was angry. This is unacceptable, Queen Vel-Ara said. I am expected at the most important diplomatic meeting in 100 years. The peace between our species depends on my presence. Tae-ho felt sorry for her, even though she was scary. He knew what it was like when things did not go as planned. I'm really sorry, he said. But there's nothing I can do about it right now. You're stuck here with me until the next ship comes. The queen looked around the docking bay again. She seemed to be seeing it for the first time. The low ceiling, the basic equipment, the simple metal walls. "Where are your servants?" she asked. "I don't have any servants. It's just me here." "Where are your other rooms? Your palace?" Teho almost laughed, but he did not want to be rude. "I have a 2-room apartment. That's it." Queen Velara's large eyes got even bigger. "You expect me, the ruler of the Korathi Empire, to stay in a 2-room apartment with no servants?" "I expect you to stay wherever you want," Teho said. "But those are the only rooms I have. You can sleep on the docking bay floor if you prefer." For a moment, the queen looked like she might get very angry. Her skin glowed brighter and her forehands made fists, but then she seemed to calm down. "This is highly irregular," she said, "but I suppose I have no choice." Teho nodded. "I'll try to make you comfortable. I don't know much about queens, but I'll do my best." "You will address me as Your Majesty," Queen Velara said. "Okay, Your Majesty. Are you hungry? I have some instant noodles." The queen stared at him like he had said something in a language she did not understand. "Instant noodles? It's food. Not fancy food, but it's what I have." Queen Velara looked around the docking bay one more time. Then she looked down at Teho. He was so much smaller than her that she had to tilt her head down to see him properly. "Very well," she said. "Lead the way to these instant noodles." As they walked to his apartment, Teho wondered what Sujin Park was doing right now. Probably sitting in some fancy diplomatic suite wondering where her ride was. He also wondered how he was going to explain to his friends that instead of getting married, he had become the host to an alien queen who was twice his size. His quiet life had just become very complicated. The first week was difficult for both of them. Queen Velara tried to sleep on Teho's small couch, but she was too big. Her feet hung over the edge, and her forearms did not fit properly. She complained every morning about the uncomfortable sleeping arrangements. She also complained about the food, the lack of servants, and the noise from the mining equipment. Teho gave her his bed and slept on the floor. He tried to make different kinds of food for her, but everything he cooked seemed wrong. The queen was used to fancy meals prepared by professional chefs. Teho could only make simple things like rice, soup, and instant noodles. "On my planet, meals are an art form," Queen Velara said one morning as she looked at the bowl of cereal Teho had given her. "Each dish tells a story about our culture and history. This cereal tells the story of a man who does not know how to cook," Teho said. He was trying to make a joke, but the queen did not laugh. The queen also did not understand why Teho had to work every day. On her planet, important people did not work with their hands. They had other people do that for them. "Why do you spend so much time fixing those dirty machines?" she asked. "Because if I don't fix them, they break down. If they break down, the mining stops. If the mining stops, I don't get paid. If I don't get paid, I can't buy food," Teho explained. "That seems very complicated," the queen said. But as the days passed, Queen Velara started to watch Teho work. At first, she stayed far away from the machines because she thought they were dirty and beneath her dignity. But she was curious about how they worked. Teho was repairing a large drill that had stopped working. The queen watched him take it apart piece by piece. "How do you know which parts are broken?" she asked. "I listen to the sounds it makes. I look at how the parts move. I feel for heat or vibrations that should not be there," Teho said. "Machines talk to you if you pay attention." The queen moved closer. "That is interesting. On my planet, we have people who understand our crystal technology in a similar way." "Crystal technology?" Queen Velara held out one of her hands. In her palm, a small blue crystal appeared. It glowed with the same light as her skin. These crystals can store enormous amounts of energy and information, but they must be tuned correctly, like a musical instrument. Each crystal has its own frequency. She touched the crystal to the broken drill. Suddenly, the machine began to glow with blue light. The drill started working perfectly. Teho stared in amazement. "How did you do that?" "The crystal amplified the machine's natural energy patterns and corrected the flaws," the queen explained. "It is simple, really." "Simple?" Teho laughed. "That was like magic." "Not magic, just a different kind of understanding." From that day, they began working together. The Queen showed Taeho how to use small crystals to improve his equipment. The machines ran better and needed less repair. Taeho showed the Queen how to use simple tools and how to solve problems with whatever materials were available. You do not need expensive equipment to be creative, Taeho told her as he fixed a water recycler using spare parts from 3 different machines. You just need to think differently about what you have. The Queen tried to copy what he was doing. Her 4 arms made her clumsy at first, but she learned quickly. She was very smart. This is satisfying in a way I did not expect, she said after successfully repairing a small pump. On my planet, I give orders and other people do the work. I never realized how good it feels to fix something yourself. That's why I like being a mechanic, Taeho said. When something is broken, I can make it work again. It makes me feel useful. The Queen looked at him with her large, star-like eyes. You are useful, Taeho Kim, more useful than you know. Their biggest test came during the 2nd week. A solar storm hit the asteroid belt. The radiation was so strong that it knocked out the main power generator. Without power, the life support systems would fail. They would have maybe 6 hours of air left. Taeho ran to the generator room. The main control unit was completely fried. Smoke was coming out of several panels. Can your crystals fix this? He asked the Queen. She examined the damage. The destruction is too extensive, even my crystals cannot repair this much damage. Taeho thought for a moment. Then he smiled. We don't need to repair it. We need to replace it. With what? You said the next supply ship will not come for months. We'll build a new one. For the next 5 hours, they worked together like a team. Taeho knew which parts from other machines could be used to build a new generator. The Queen used her crystals to power the components and her strength to move heavy equipment. Taeho crawled into spaces too small for the Queen. The Queen lifted parts too heavy for Taeho. When they needed to weld metal pieces together, Taeho held them steady while the Queen used her crystals to create precise heat. There, Taeho said as he connected the last wire. Try it now. The Queen touched her crystal to the new generator. Blue light flowed through all the components. The machine hummed to life. The lights came back on. Fresh air began flowing through the vents. They had done it. Both of them were covered in grease and sweat. The Queen's expensive clothes were dirty and torn, but she was smiling. We make a good team, she said. Yes, we do, Taeho agreed. That night they shared a simple meal of rice and vegetables, but it tasted better than any fancy dinner either of them had ever eaten. Taeho, the Queen said, I owe you an apology. When I first arrived, I thought you were just a simple mechanic on a small station. I thought your life was unimportant. It is a simple life, Taeho said. No, the Queen shook her head. Simple does not mean unimportant. You saved both our lives today with your knowledge and skill. You have shown me that there is dignity in all honest work. Taeho felt his face get warm. No one had ever talked to him like that before. You're not what I expected either, he said. I thought queens just sat around and gave orders, but you're smart and brave. You worked as hard as I did today. Perhaps we both had wrong ideas about each other, the Queen said. Perhaps we did. As they cleaned up their tools, Taeho realized something had changed. He was not taking care of a stranded alien queen anymore. They were partners now. And for the first time since she had arrived, he was not counting the days until the next transport ship came. Everything changed on the 3rd week when Captain Dongwook Choi arrived. Taeho was working on the mining equipment when the alarm started screaming. His computer screen showed a ship approaching fast. But this was not the regular transport. This ship was bigger and had weapons. Velara, Taeho called out. The Queen had told him to stop calling her Your Majesty when they were alone. We have company. The Queen came running from the workshop. She looked at the screen and her skin immediately glowed brighter with alarm. That is a pirate ship, she said. They must have detected my presence somehow. Pirates. Taeho had heard stories about space pirates, but he had never seen one. What do they want? Me, the Queen said simply. A Karathi queen would be worth billions in ransom money. The radio crackled to life. A man's voice spoke in Korean, but with a cruel tone that made Taeho's skin crawl. New Busan Station. This is Captain Dong-wook Choi. We know you have the alien queen. Surrender her now and we will let you live. Tae-ho looked at Velara. She looked back at him. Neither of them spoke for a moment. I will go with them, the queen said finally. I will not let you die because of me. No, Tae-ho said. You're not going anywhere. Tae-ho, be reasonable. You cannot fight a pirate ship with mining equipment. Watch me. Tae-ho had never been in a real fight before, but he knew every inch of the mining station. He knew every pipe, every tunnel, every machine, and he had an idea. Can your crystals work with the mining lasers? He asked. The lasers? Yes, but they are designed for cutting rock, not fighting ships. What if we could make them stronger? The queen understood immediately. The crystals could amplify their power significantly, but it would be dangerous. The feedback could destroy the entire station. Better than letting pirates take you. They had less than an hour before the pirates would dock. Tae-ho ran through the maintenance tunnels to reach the main laser array. These were huge machines designed to cut through asteroids. They were not built to be weapons, but with the Queen's crystals, maybe they could be. The Queen used her forearms to install crystals into the laser control systems, while Tae-ho rewired the power systems. It was dangerous work. One mistake, and the lasers could explode. They are docking now, Velara said, listening to the sounds coming through the station walls. Just a little more time, Tae-ho said, sweat dripping from his face as he worked. The pirates blasted through the airlock door. Tae-ho could hear them moving through the station looking for the Queen. There were at least 6 of them, all carrying energy weapons. Where are you hiding, little Queen? Captain Dong-wook's voice echoed through the hallways. Come out and no one gets hurt. Tae-ho finished the last connection. Ready, he whispered. The Queen touched her crystals to the laser controls. Blue light flowed through all the systems. The mining lasers began to glow with power they were never designed to hold. Now what? Velara asked. Now we hunt. Tae-ho knew the station better than anyone. He could move through the maintenance shafts and air vents without making noise. The pirates were looking for a queen and a mechanic in the main rooms. They were not expecting an attack from inside the walls. Tae-ho used the mining station's internal sensors to track the pirates. When 2 of them entered the workshop, he activated the overhead mining crane. The heavy metal arm swung down and knocked both pirates unconscious. In the storage bay, he turned on the artificial gravity controls and reversed them. 3 pirates suddenly found themselves stuck to the ceiling, unable to move. But Captain Dong-wook was smarter than his crew. He figured out what was happening. Clever little mechanic, the captain's voice came over the radio. But I have something you want. Tae-ho looked at the security cameras. The captain was in the main control room. He had planted explosives throughout the station. Come out now, or I blow up your precious station with all of us inside, the captain said. I would rather die than go back to my bosses empty-handed. Tae-ho looked at Velara. She nodded. They had no choice. They walked into the control room with their hands up. Captain Dong-wook was a tall man with scars on his face and cold eyes. He smiled when he saw them. The famous Queen Velara, he said. You are even bigger than the reports said. You will make me rich. Let the human go, the Queen said. Your fight is with me. The human stays. He might be useful. But the captain had made one mistake. He had not noticed the small crystals that Tae-ho had hidden in the control room while they were preparing for the attack. Tae-ho caught Velara's eye and looked at the crystals. She understood. You know, Captain, Tae-ho said, you should be more careful about what you touch. What are you talking about? Tae-ho smiled and pressed a button on his tool belt. It was the remote control for the mining lasers. The crystals in the control room began to glow. The Queen's natural abilities amplified their power. Suddenly, every piece of electronic equipment in the room began to overload. Sparks flew everywhere. The captain's weapons stopped working. The explosives' timers went crazy and could not detonate. The lights went out. In the darkness, the Queen moved like lightning. Her 4 arms grabbed the captain before he could run. Tae-ho activated the emergency containment field. trapping the captain inside an energy barrier. When the lights came back on, it was over. "How?" the captain asked, looking shocked. "You attacked my home," Taeho said. "You threatened my friend. Did you think I would just let you win?" The queen looked at Taeho with something like pride in her large eyes. "Humans," she said to the captain, "are much more dangerous than they appear." Later, after they had secured all the pirates and sent a distress signal, Taeho and Velara sat in the workshop. "You could have been killed," the queen said. "So could you. Why did you risk your life for me?" Taeho thought about it. A month ago he had been alone on this station, waiting for a mail-order bride to make his life less lonely. Now he had found something much better than he had ever hoped for. "Because you're my friend," he said. "And friends protect each other." The queen's skin glowed softly, and Taeho realized it was not from anger or alarm this time. It was from happiness. "Yes," she said. "Friends protect each other." The rescue ships arrived 3 days later. First came the Karathi battle fleet, 5 massive ships that made the mining station look like a tiny toy. Taeho had never seen anything so big or powerful. The ship's crystal hulls glowed with the same blue light as Queen Velara's skin. Behind them came a smaller Earth Federation ship. When the airlock opened, a man in a military uniform stepped out. He was Korean, like Taeho, but older, and with important-looking medals on his chest. "I am Admiral Hyun-Soo Lee of the Joint Human Karathi Command," the man said. "We received your distress signal. Is Queen Velara safe?" "I am safe, Admiral," the queen said as she entered the docking bay. "Thanks to Taeho Kim." The admiral looked at Taeho with surprise. Taeho was still wearing his dirty work clothes and had grease under his fingernails. He did not look like someone who could protect a queen from pirates. "You are the mechanic who defeated Captain Dongwook Choi and his crew?" "We defeated them," Taeho said, looking at Velara. "Together." More people came through the airlock. Karathi officials with beautiful crystal jewelry. Human diplomats in expensive suits. They all wanted to hear the story of what had happened, but the most important person was the last one to arrive. Soojin Park, the woman who was supposed to be Taeho's mail-order bride, stepped off the Earth Federation ship. She was pretty, just like her pictures. She wore a nice dress and had perfect hair. But when she saw Taeho standing next to the enormous alien queen, she looked confused. "Taeho?" Soojin asked. "I was told you were in danger. Are you all right?" Taeho felt strange seeing her. For months he had imagined what this moment would be like. He had thought he would be excited and nervous. But now he just felt empty. "I'm fine," he said. "I'm sorry about the confusion with the transport ships." Soojin looked at Queen Velara, then back at Taeho. "I heard you protected an alien queen from pirates. That was very brave. Anyone would have done the same thing." But Admiral Lee shook his head. "No, Mr. Kim, not anyone would have done what you did. You used limited resources and human ingenuity to defeat a superior enemy. You protected one of our most important allies at great risk to yourself." The Admiral turned to address everyone in the docking bay. Because of Taeho Kim's actions, the peace negotiations between Earth and the Karathi Empire will proceed as planned. His bravery has prevented a diplomatic crisis that could have led to war. One of the Karathi officials stepped forward. He was almost as tall as Queen Velara, with golden crystal markings on his skin. "The Karathi Empire owes you a great debt, Taeho Kim. Name your reward, and it shall be yours." Taeho looked around at all the important people staring at him. He felt very small and out of place. "I don't need a reward," he said. "I was just helping a friend." But Queen Velara put one of her large hands on his shoulder. "The Empire insists," she said. "You could have a position in our military, or a place in our diplomatic corps, or enough money to buy your own fleet of ships. You could also join the Earth Federation," Admiral Lee added. "Your skills would be valuable in our engineering department." Everyone waited for Taeho's answer. But before he could speak, Soojin Park stepped forward. "Actually," she said, looking a little embarrassed, "I should tell you something, Taeho. During the trip here I met someone. Dr. Min Ho Jung, one of the diplomats. We've been talking for days and, well, I think we might be falling in love. She paused and looked at the ground. I'm sorry. I know this is not what you expected, but I don't think we should get married. Not when our hearts are not in it. Tae-ho felt relieved instead of disappointed. It's okay, Sujin. I understand. You do? Tae-ho looked at Queen Velara. Over the past month, he had learned that she was intelligent, brave, and kind. She had worked beside him and trusted him to protect her. She had become the most important person in his life. Yes, he said. I understand completely. The queen's skin began to glow softly. But then her expression became sad. I must return to my planet, she said to everyone. I have duties as queen, and I am expected to marry Prince Daeseong of the Northern Houses to unite our political factions. An arranged marriage? Tae-ho asked. It is our way. Personal feelings cannot come before the good of the empire. Tae-ho felt his heart sink. He had found someone special, but she belonged to a different world. Literally, Admiral Lee cleared his throat. Actually, Your Majesty, the political situation has changed. The successful rescue mission has greatly improved relations between our species. The Northern Houses have agreed to the peace treaty without requiring a marriage alliance. Queen Velara's eyes grew wide. You mean the queen could choose her own path? One of the Karathi officials said. It would be unprecedented but not impossible, especially if she were to abdicate in favor of her sister, Princess Nara. Nara would make an excellent queen, Velara said thoughtfully. She is better at politics than I am, and she actually wants to marry Prince Daeseong. Everyone started talking at once. The humans and Karathi officials were excited about the political possibilities. Sujin was whispering with Dr. Young, planning their own future, but Tae-ho only cared about one thing. What do you want to do? He asked Queen Velara quietly. She looked down at him with her star-like eyes. I want to stay with you. If you will, have me. Are you sure? You would be giving up being a queen. I have been a queen my whole life. I have never been free to choose my own path. These past weeks with you have shown me what real partnership feels like. Tae-ho smiled. Then stay. Admiral, Lee overheard them. If you both stay here, you will need something to do. The Federation has been looking for teams to establish new colonies on frontier planets. People who can work together and solve problems with limited resources. We would need partners who understand both human and alien technology, one of the Karathi officials added. A human mechanic and a former Karathi queen would be perfect for such work. Queen Velara looked at Tae-ho. What do you think? Ready for another adventure? Tae-ho thought about his quiet life on the mining station. Then he thought about building something new with the most amazing person he had ever met. Yes, he said, I'm ready. 2 years later, Tae-ho and Velara stood on the surface of their new planet watching the sunrise. The planet was called New Hope, and it was beautiful. Green forests covered rolling hills. Clear rivers flowed down from snow-covered mountains. The air was clean and fresh, nothing like the recycled atmosphere of the mining station. The new families will arrive today, Velara said, checking her communication device. Humans or Karathi? Tae-ho asked. Both. 15 human families and 8 Karathi families. They want to try living together in the same community. It had been Velara's idea to create a mixed colony. She said that humans and Karathi could learn from each other if they lived side by side. Tae-ho had built the systems to make it work. Their town was unlike anything in the galaxy. Human-style houses with Karathi crystal power systems. Karathi gardens with human farming techniques. Children of both species playing together and learning each other's languages. Tae-ho was no longer just a mechanic. He was the colony's chief engineer. But he still liked to work with his hands. He still fixed things when they broke. Velara was no longer a queen, but everyone called her Leader Velara. She helped solve problems between the families and made sure everyone had what they needed. She was good at it because she understood both cultures. The morning reports look good, she said, reading from her device. The crystal farms are producing more energy than we need. The water purification system is working perfectly, and the school graduation is next week. Their first major success had come 6 months ago. The Galactic Engineering Council had given them an impossible problem to solve. A planet in the Rigel system had a broken atmosphere processor. The machine was supposed to make the air breathable for colonists, but it had been malfunctioning for 10 years. The best alien engineers in the galaxy could not fix it. The problem is too complicated, the Council had said. The original design files were lost. The machine uses technology from 12 different species. It would take decades to understand how it all works together. But Tai-Ho looked at the problem differently. We don't need to understand how it all works together, he had told Velera. We just need to find the parts that are broken and fix them one at a time. They had taken apart the enormous machine section by section. Tai-Ho identified each broken component using the same methods he had used on mining equipment. Listen to the sounds. Look at how parts move. Feel for heat or vibrations that should not be there. Velera used her crystals to test each component and determine what it was supposed to do. When they found broken parts, they built replacements using whatever materials they could find on the planet. It took them 3 months of hard work, but when they turned the machine back on, it worked perfectly. The success made them famous throughout the galaxy. Other colonies started asking for their help with engineering problems. Always the same story. Alien experts had given up, but the human mechanic and former Karathi queen found simple solutions. You have a visitor, Velera said, pointing to a ship landing near their workshop. Tai-Ho recognized the pilot. It was Sujin Park, now married to Dr. Min-Ho Jung. She visited sometimes to see how they were doing. Tai-Ho, Velera, Sujin called out as she walked toward them. I have news from Earth. Sujin and Dr. Jung had become ambassadors traveling between human and alien worlds to help establish diplomatic relations. They seemed very happy together. The Galactic Council wants to hire you for another project, Sujin said. A space station near Vega has a reactor problem. They say it might explode and destroy 3 whole solar systems if someone doesn't fix it soon. Tai-Ho looked at Velera. What do you think? It sounds dangerous, she said. But if we don't help, millions of people could die. Then we help. Sujin smiled. I knew you would say that. The council is offering to pay you enough money to fund 10 new colonies. We don't need that much money, Tai-Ho said. I told them you would say that, too. So they are offering something else. They want to make you both official galactic problem solvers. You would travel from world to world, fixing things that other people cannot fix. Velera's skin glowed with excitement. We could help so many people. But what about New Hope? Tai-Ho asked. What about our colony? The colony can take care of itself now, Velera said. We have trained good leaders and we can always come back between missions. That evening they walked through their town together. Human children were playing with Karathi children in the streets. Adults of both species worked together in the crystal gardens. Everything was peaceful and happy. They stopped at their workshop, where they had built their first machines together. It was bigger now, with advanced equipment from dozens of different worlds. But Tai-Ho still kept his old tools from the mining station. Do you ever miss being a queen? Tai-Ho asked. Do you ever miss your quiet life on the mining station? Velera asked back. They both laughed. I liked being a queen, Velera said, but I love being your partner. I liked the quiet, Tai-Ho said, but I love the adventure. A small blue crystal floated between them. It was one of the new experimental designs they had been working on together. The crystal could store not just energy and information, but memories and emotions. What should we call our company? Velera asked. Kim and Velera Engineering? Too formal. How about problem solvers? Too simple, they thought for a moment. Bridge builders, Tai-Ho said finally. Perfect. We build bridges between species, between technologies, between different ways of thinking. Bridge builders it is. They sealed their decision with a kiss. Velera had to lean down and Tai-Ho had to reach up, but they had gotten good at making it work. Later that night, as they prepared for sleep, Tejo thought about how much his life had changed. 2 years ago, he had been a lonely mechanic waiting for a mail-order bride. Now he was married to an alien queen, running a successful colony, and about to become a famous problem solver. "Velara," he said in the darkness. "Yes? Thank you for getting on the wrong transport ship. Thank you for not sending me away. Where would I send you? This is your home now." "No," Velara said, moving closer to him. "You are my home now." Outside their window, the 2 moons of New Hope shone down on their town. Human and Karathi families slept peacefully in their homes. Children of both species dreamed about their futures, and in the workshop, the crystal that held their memories and emotions glowed softly in the darkness, storing the story of how a lonely mechanic and a stranded queen had found each other and built something beautiful together. Tomorrow they would start their new adventure as official galactic problem solvers. They would travel to dangerous places and fix impossible problems. They would face challenges that would test their skills and their partnership. But tonight, they were just Tejo and Velara, lying together in their home, planning their future, and dreaming about all the problems they would solve together, because that is what they did best. They solved problems. And the best problems were the ones they could solve together.